Hello, and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. On behalf of OTC Markets, we are very pleased you have joined us for the Precious Metals and Critical Minerals Conference. Our next presentation of the day is from Kirkland Lake Discoveries. Please note you may submit questions for the presenter in the box to the left of the slides. You can also view a company's availability for one-on-one meetings by clicking Book a Meeting in the top toolbar. At this point, I am very pleased to welcome Stefan Sklepowicz, Chief Executive Officer, and Ryan Lunny, Head of Corporate Development of Kirkland Lake Discoveries, which trades on the OTCID market under the symbol KLKLF and on TSXV under the symbol KLDC. Welcome, Stefan and Ryan.
Thanks a lot, Lily. So today we're just going to take you through an overview of Kirkland Lake Discoveries, and I welcome you to book a meeting if you'd like to have further information or have specific questions that don't get answered in the Q&A at this point in time. So the biggest opportunity in the mining space or junior exploration is with a $1 billion type of investment thesis. And the idea is that if you combine a great location with great rocks, with the scale for discovery, and put those all together, that's where we have the opportunity for a major discovery, and then in turn, a massive re-rating for these junior investment stocks, these junior mining stocks. And so we're located in Kirkland Lake, Ontario. We have some of the best rocks in the world. They're gold-rich, intrusion-related systems, VMS in nature as well, so volcanogenic and massive sulfides, lots of copper, zinc, as well as gold within these rocks. We've accumulated the largest land package in the Kirkland Lake district, and basically we're set up for a massive re-rating in the next few months. So I'll get into those things. We're located within the Abitibi Greenstone Belt, which is one of the largest gold-rich greenstone belts with over 300 million ounces of gold discovered to date. Within Kirkland Lake proper, there's been over 30 million ounces, but what we're focused on right now is this green belt that you see here. So basically this area right here, that's the Blake River group of rocks. And the Blake River group of rocks are some of the most prolific production zones within the Canadian Abitibi Greenstone Belt. So zooming in on that, what you'll notice is that there's two parts of the belt. There's the Ontario side, which is to the left over here, and then the Quebec side, which is over here. And the Quebec side, what you're going to notice is that there's a significant resolution difference. And so what we actually see there is a 1 to 50,000 for the mapping versus a 1 to 250,000. The Ontario side has been relatively overlooked. There's a bit more cover on this side. And so the majority of the mapping has been done through broad scale geophysics. As compared to this, there's a lot of boots on the ground, a lot more detail. The way that I look at this is kind of like your 4K, 8K TV over on the Quebec side. And then on the Ontario side, that's more like looking at your 1960s boob tube. So what we're doing is taking modern exploration approaches to unlock the potential of this belt. You'll notice that there's been significant discoveries in mines on the Quebec side, lots of gold and VMS deposits, and that kind of stops at that Ontario border. There's only been one major discovery on the Ontario border, and that's the Upper Beaver. But mines like Horn and LaRonde, 53 million tons at 6 grams per ton is a significant deposit. And so we think that there's opportunity to find those same deposits on the Ontario side of the border, and they've just been overlooked up to this point in time. So everything you see in gold here is the land package that we've accumulated. It's been about 10, 15 years, but it's split into two major sections. We have KL West and KL East. We're surrounded by major players. We have Stellar Gold to the northwest, Eldorado within our claim group and through the center. They've optioned those properties. We have Pan American Silver because they took out Mag Silver just recently, but that's to our southeast. And then the largest landholder and major neighbor is Agnico Eagle, and they're just to the south of us, everything in gray here. And they have two mines that are currently in production or moving into production. So Macassa, which is over here, and then Upper Beaver, which is over here. And those, the Upper Beaver is moving into production. It's a copper gold intrusive related system or deposit. It's less than 2 kilometers from our border, as compared to Macassa, which is a high-grade orogenic system, and that's less than 5 kilometers from our border. So very, very close proximity. The value of that is that, you know, this is a brownfields camp. It's highly established, workforce is there. We have a network of forestry roads throughout our property, as well as power lines going through both the east and the west side. And so from an infrastructure standpoint, it's very, very well set up. When we're looking at the overall district, there's been major past producing mines all along the Kirkland Lake main break. Within this area here, there's over 27 million ounces of gold. And there's splay structures that are coming off of this that connect up into our property. And so with these being overlooked in the past, we see these as great opportunities. Within the actual property, we've seen significant mineralization. Oh, sorry about that. Just skipped one. On the west side here, high-grade gold, including 561 grams per ton over a half meter, 155 over 0.75, as well as 1.22 over 74. And so there's evidence of high-grade mineralization. And we've also seen copper, zinc, silver, all within this land package as well. And so what we're doing is doing systematic approach to build up the understanding of the land package to be able to unlock the hidden potential here. One of the ways that we did that was with soil geochemistry. And so you dig down about, 20 inches or so and take a soil sample. And basically what that will show us is what types of minerals are in those soils that have leached out of the bedrock. And what we found were these clusters around this large intrusion. So this pink blob that you see in the background is it's almost like a volcano that's was pushing up through the mantle, and it didn't quite get through to the surface. And so this intrusive was underground, but what we're noticing is that around that intrusion is that there was clusters of mineralization. And so we see all different styles of mineralization potential, but we have, orogenic or shear lode gold, that's that purple, and green is VMS, where we have a big chunk of it up here. And then we also have in orange intrusion related, which was, specifically around that area. And so those are going to have elevated copper, gold, silver, zinc, etc. And so this brought us into this area to really focus in. And with our regional geophysics, or our more higher resolution geophysics, we noticed that there was a correlation between those soil anomalies and then magnetic highs or magnetic anomalies around that intrusion as well. When we did further research, that was where we found this drill hole from 1989, where they hit 2.6% zinc, 2.6% copper, 2.8% zinc, as well as silver and gold over 22.5 meters. And so this spring, we ended up optioning this property, which basically goes in this area here, to bring that into our exploration package and thesis to explore this land even further. And so the guys got to work very quickly this summer or spring. We found some very interesting anomalies. Basically, one of the more interesting things for me was this massive bismuth number. So a bismuth is normally 30 grams per ton is a showing. We ended up finding 1,235 grams per ton. And the reason why that's important is that within these intrusive based systems, the longer they're running and circulating fluids, the more bismuth is going to be in that. And the reason why bismuth is important is that it lowers the melting point for gold. So a lot of times these intrusive based systems, if they have bismuth present, tellurium present, molybdenum present, you're going to find a large source of gold. And so these elevated numbers are very interesting, and that's what we're chasing down, is one of these larger deposits. From surface as well, we saw altered intrusive. So instead of it being, this gray, red, pink color, it's a fire engine red. So there's been lots of acids that have gone through these rocks, which also leach more minerals from the surrounding material as well. Right at surface here, we had grabs up to 5.7% copper with 5.3% zinc, and also silver and gold kicker also having tellurium in it. So really good indicators that this is a strong intrusive-based system. Channel sampling showed that this mineralization wasn't just at the Winnie shaft. 115 meters away, we found what we're calling mini Winnie. That's an area where we had up to 3% copper as well at surface, and then elevated bismuth throughout the intrusion as well, with 35 grams per ton over 17 meters of bismuth. So again, showing that this isn't just a isolated system, but it's very big, wide opportunity. Now, why that's important is that this entire perimeter of this intrusion is 17 kilometers. So that opens up the opportunity for massive discovery in a lot of different areas. And what you see in this image in all of these hashed areas, those are the soil samples that were anomalous. And then behind it, you can see the magnetics. And what we look for is where we have disruption of the magnetics, or we see highs and lows that are right beside each other, such as this area here, which is very, very interesting for us at this time. But what we did is we set out to test the known mineralization to see if it increases or improves closer to the intrusion. And then also looking at a couple of these areas around the intrusion where we have those magnetic and geochemical anomalies to determine what the opportunity is. This has been very limited testing up to this point in time, both by us and by previous operators. There's no drill holes around this perimeter except for in this area down here, and then the ones that we've just added in. And so with that drilling, we were able to test a lot of the different contacts. Basically, everything that was drilled previously was all in this direction away from the intrusion. And so we moved closer in and really went across that contact where that intrusive body comes in, thinking that that might have a significant play in the mineralization. We were thrilled with what we saw and made multiple discoveries with this drilling that ended in August. So there was 2 new gold discoveries, both within the intrusion, that was here, and that's over 2 kilometers apart. And then within the mineralization with the massive sulfides that was just outside of the intrusion, we ended up getting 36 meters of 1% copper equivalent to 1.27, and basically starting from surface. So these 14, 13, those meterage, that's basically the cover that was in that area, and we were able to hit it right from hitting bedrock. So very interesting discoveries. This was not mapped in any shape or form as a syenite, which is very important in this camp. A lot of times they act as a great host for gold mineralization, and so finding a gold and critical minerals discovery with blind testing based off of soil geochemistry and geophysics is extremely exciting. And so with that, we were able to set out and raise a significant amount of capital. We have over $13 million in the bank. And with that, we're basically getting right back to work to do further testing of these systems. But just to show you kind of the highlights, this is that altered syenite with quartz veining. So that we ended up getting gold and critical minerals in. And then this is more of those massive sulfides, which was at the contact outside of the intrusion. And we also see it interacting at the intrusion here, where we have this highly altered syenite with chalcopyrite, quartz veinings, quartz carbonate. So very, very interesting rocks. Some of the other ways that we're looking undercover is by using artificial intelligence and machine learning. And so we partnered with ALS Goldspot, who basically took the all of the electromagnetic data and pulled out all of these signals that were of high importance. So basically looking at where there was known mineralization and then using artificial intelligence to pull out that same signal across the other 7,000 line kilometers. And so what that's given us is a prioritized list of areas that are of interest. So these high probability for mineralization areas. So the biggest catalysts we have coming up right now, there's 25,000 meters of drilling that were announced a few weeks ago. So that's currently going on. So that's following up at the KL West and around the Winnie intrusion. Drilling for us is actually better in the winter for a lot of places in Ontario because the ground's frozen. We have easier access. We don't have to worry about swamps or anything like that. And so with the ground being solid, we can basically drill for the next 4 months without any interruptions or any issues. And so the team's out there now. We've already completed over 1,000 meters in the last few weeks. And that'll be ongoing, basically ramping up our drilling program come January with a second drill. And as we find more things, we'll continue to add drills to increase the number of catalysts that'll be coming forward on a regular basis. One of the things that we do a little bit differently at Kirkland Lake is we are all about the treasure hunt. So I'm a huge believer in transparency as well as storytelling. And so we put out an episode every 2 to 3 weeks, basically, where we run through what we've been up to, strapping GoPros to the geologists when they're in the bush so you can actually see them pulling back moss, see them, pulling core out from the drill. And I'm just a firm believer that everyone should have that same level of transparency and be able to follow along with the excitement that happens as we're making these discoveries. And so I invite you to check that out at Kirkland Lake Discoveries on YouTube. But there's basically, you can go back to the last year and follow along with this discovery story and every piece of the journey that's come along with it. We have an experienced board of directors, Denis Laviolette being our chairman. He was well known for his time with Newfound Gold, basically took that from a startup to a $1.5 billion company. Christina McCarthy had success with Paycore Minerals, one of the fastest exits from the KLDC or from the TSXV, in basically 7 months and sold for $90 million. Both Gary and Vincent have a lot of experience in the field. So we have strong capital connections as well as excellent geological insights. Our team, we have a strong technical team with multiple senior geologists. We also have our VPX who just started recently, Ben Cleland, and he's brought some very strong insight and experience to the team. And he's currently getting settled, getting into the data and exploring this more deeply. And with that increased capital and increased number of drills, it was imperative that we brought in somebody who has strong experience from that regard to be able to keep this running efficiently and moving it forward as fast as possible. And then just to summarize, we have 153 million shares out, approximately between 45 and 60 million market cap, depending on what we're trading. This is on the venture. So that's in Canadian dollars. And then, like I said, we have over 13 million in cash, 30 million warrants, which most of them were raised at 25 cents, and those warrants are at 40. And some of the biggest shareholders that we had come in, we had Eric Sprott in the last financing, along with Rob McEwen. We had Crescat Capital come in, including Quinton Henney. We had a commodity fund out of Singapore, and so really added to the strength of our financing. It was done in a private placement with non-brokered, so I vetted every single individual that came into this, and so I'm very confident in our capital structure going forward. So I welcome any questions, and I'll invite Ryan in here to moderate this so that we can get through as many as we can here.
Absolutely. Thanks, Stefan. And thanks to everybody who's already asked a question. I think we'll start just in the order they came in, since all are quality here. So First off, given the camp's M&A history, Kirkland Agnico $24 billion deal, under what resource size or grade threshold would you consider partnership JV discussions with neighbors like Agnico or MAG, now Pan American Silver?
Great question. So that's one of the benefits of working in the camp. Because of that proximity to those major players, the tipping point isn't nearly as big as what it is in a lot of other exploration areas. We literally drive through, the Macassa mine site to get to the Winnie Shaft where we're currently drilling and exploring. So it's a 25-minute drive from Kirkland Lake. Drillers will pick up McDonald's in the morning, stop at the drill. They're eating their English muffin first thing, no issues. And so the benefit of that is that the infrastructure is all there. It doesn't require any fly-ins or anything like that. And so with that, the tipping point for scale is a lot lower. So in our eyes, what it's going to take is a major discovery. It's not necessarily full ounces at this point even. I'm not thinking it's going to be 500,000 or a million. With that type of proximity and with Upper Beaver moving into production, this is a very important piece of it. They've already sunk this shaft to 2 kilometers. And what that means is that if they can find a similar intrusive-based system at surface, they're already set up and ready to take it. And with the mineralization that we encountered already, it certainly is leading towards a potential partnership with Agnico, where this would make a lot of sense to be able to bring in something, again, high grade at surface that they already have a mill set up that's just a few kilometers away. So hopefully that answers your question.
Awesome. Next up, we have, you've now launched a fully funded 25,000 meter diamond drill program starting November 21. How much of that meterage is firmly allocated to KL West versus other areas? And what are the key decision points that could change where those meters go?
So the majority of it is dedicated to KL West. I'll say that the plan is to put everything towards KL West. There would have to be a lot of issues. Things would have to go horribly wrong, and we don't discover any mineralization, any continuity, any signs of mineralization around this intrusion for us to change that plan, which is highly unlikely. But the geology gods can speak in certain ways. And so what we've done is we've started with the follow-up in this area here. We're testing 2 major things. There's this structure that goes across here, as well as the contact of the syenite. And so the first 1,000 meters have been spent in that area. There's a structure along here, and you can see that there's multiple gold features outside of the Pluton. And so us finding a syenite source that is endowed was exciting. And so for us, it's finding out, are these things connected? Are they interrelated? As well as finding out, does that syenite continue towards the 2 kilometers away where we found the other gold discovery in syenite? So there's no shortage of targets at KL West and the Winnie Stock specifically. But the idea is, I want to find out how many potential deposits we have around this, because I'm not looking to move this into a mine. I'm looking to build it up and sell it off because of that proximity to those major players. And so the idea is find something, bring in another drill, find some more, bring in another drill, and just continue doing that and growing what we have here so that we can maximize the value that we're presenting to major players.
Excellent. You've just strengthened the technical team with a VPX and technical advisor alongside your existing senior geologists. What new capabilities or disciplines did you deliberately add, and how will that change how quickly you can cycle through target generation, drilling, and reinterpretation?
Man, that's a good question. And so Jean-Francois he's a PhD that specializes in intrusion-based systems. So there's not a lot of people out there that have that level of technical capability, and he is one of the best. He's had a very close interest in our story for the last couple of years, seeing how we were exploring it and what we were going through. And I reached out to talk to him, about the exploration and what we were up to, and put out the idea of him joining the team. And he said he would absolutely love to come on as an advisor. And so what it does is just allows us to be able to pick the brain of somebody who understands these systems better than the average geologist. We've already started talking about alteration signatures and what those look like, and vectoring using those. And that's something that he has a lot of experience in. And so we can look at the core using something like a TerraSpec, which will give us exactly the alteration signatures from those clays and micas. And that allows us to more fine tune the exploration. Ben brought in a wealth of experience. He has this curiosity surrounding exploration and the treasure hunt, which he fit in really nicely. We had a lot of individuals that applied for the job because of the significance of where we stand and the crossroads we're at. And, we had guys that had 30, 40 years experience working in mines and other stuff. And this, I really wanted Ben because of his drive and passion. I knew that we would be able to have late night conversations about geology. And last night we were talking at 9 o'clock, where both of us had an exciting day where we're just going through and talking about what's going on in the next steps. And so it's bringing that level of excitement and energy to the team that just permeates through everybody else. And so I hope that answers your question, but it really brings in quality individuals that are all aligned with the same mindset that I have as well.
Excellent. Next one, with $13.5 million in cash, what are your planned drilling budget for 2025, 2026? And do you have sufficient capital to test all priority targets, or will you need an additional financing?
So the benefit of working in Kirkland Lake is that we have very low rates for drilling. Our last program, we averaged $225 a meter. That includes our geologist costs, assays, room and board, everything. And so that 25,000, basically that's $6 million that we'd be looking at, 6.5. And so that gets us through a lot of these things. As most of you are aware, your drill plans change based off of what you see. And so, the priority targets are there, and we can definitely cover all of those. But as discoveries are made, then more drilling will be needed to understand those systems. So, in our first program, we made 2 discoveries, and that was with 1,700 meters. So how many discoveries are going to be made with 25,000 meters? I don't know the answer to that, but the goal is that there's multiple so that we can continue drilling. And with that, there'll be a financing that would go along with that to support further drilling. Our costs for corporate function, et cetera, the keep the lights on, is relatively low and allows us to really focus the majority on our drilling. But I'm not planning to, have a financing in the imminent future. We have a good 6-month runway for our drill program and a good 4-year runway when it comes to our corporate costs. And so no imminent financing.
Excellent. And a technical one coming your way this time. Your 2025 drilling at Winnie Lake found semi-massive to massive sulfides with wide halos of silicification. How many of your 37 drill holes to date have intersected this style of mineralization? And what is your interpretation of the vertical extent at depth?
So if you're talking specifically the massive sulfides, within that halo, we only had 4 holes that were in that section, in that one area. And then as we got outside of that, we saw sulfides, but not necessarily of the massive nature within that. And so we don't know what the vertical extent of it is. All of the holes were going the same way. They were all within a singular plane, basically. And we were testing the east-west extent of that. The drilling that we have planned coming up, it will be starting in January to test that vertical extent of it. And so all I can say for that is just stay tuned to see as we learn more. We'll discuss more within those videos and within press releases with what we find. But that's my most exciting area. Like I love these gold areas around, but the massive sulfides were a really big deal. So we'll figure that out shortly. And I think that's all we have time for. I'm sure we didn't get through all the questions, so please feel free. You can email me, call me. All my information's on the website. I'm happy to answer any questions or set up a one-on-one meeting, and I'll gladly sit down and go through those things with you in greater detail. But thank you so much for joining us and taking the time.
Thanks, everyone.